Hi everyone, and welcome to Monday Night Stamping. This is a place where we get gathered together every Monday night, or almost every Monday night, and we chat, we connect, and we create. So happy to have you here. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, I'm so glad to have you back. So as we go through tonight, you might want to take note of some things that interest you and just make a little wish list or a little note and go from there. So my name is Lillian with Stampers Niche, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Alberta, Canada, where the weather this week is wonderful. In fact, it reached 16 degrees yesterday and today. Big change from a week ago when we had 1.5 feet of snow. So we are celebrating that. Today's date is Monday, April the 7th, 2025. And let me just say, thank you. So glad to see some of you saying hello, and I encourage you, all of you, to just even put a smiley face or something in the comments so that other people know you're watching. Even if you're on YouTube, that would be great. You could put a thumbs up or hi or something like that. And then I like to throw out a little question to get the conversation started, so to speak. So as we go down to my desktop, maybe you could, in the comments, jot down a project you're working on, or even for an event, or one that you need to work on. So for example, are you working on cards for Easter, or treats for Easter, or maybe a baby shower, or maybe birthdays, or whatever. So jot down what you're working on, or what you need to be working on, or plan to be working on, I should say. Okay, I'm just going to go down to my desktop here, and we'll just get all set up. There we go. So glad to see so many of you on here already. And I know that you can see this lovely document here. It's the new annual catalog. My husband and I went up to the mountains for just a couple of days, and when I came home, this was waiting for me. And rather than unpack or do anything else, I had to sit down and have a cup of tea and take a quick look through, and then I've looked through a few more times. So what are you working on? And if you have already got your hands on this, what's something you like about the catalog? Maybe you could tell us that. So if you are working on Easter cards to donate to a local seniors, oh, that's perfect. How wonderful is that? Excellent. Some are for monthly card clubs and all kinds of creativity happening. That's super. So back to the annual catalog. If you are wanting one and you live in Canada and don't have a demonstrator, remember, you can reach out to me and I will make sure you get one. So you can either go to this address right here and fill out the form, or just drop me a message. Just let me know you are wanting one. So I see lots of Easter activities going on. Super. So the other thing that's happening right now, other than anticipation of the new catalog, is that the old catalogs are going away. And so a lot of items have been moved to the last chance the list. In fact, some are sold out. Some are discounted, some are not. So you need to go there. So you can either go here, or you can go to my website and then click on Shop Now in the Last Chance products. One thing that is for sure on the Last Chance products, and they're selling out, some of them are sold out, are the in colors. So if you enjoy these in colors, actually, this is a favorite of mine. This is a favorite. This became a favorite of mine. And I love these ones as well. Make sure you've got them. If you've got the inks, make sure you've got the ink refills. We've talked about that before. But make sure you've got them, because once you get the ink refills, then you're good to go forever. In fact, I had a customer say, ink refills. I thought I had to get a new ink pad when it stopped working. So when you look at the color family, so this is the neutrals. We've got all these different ones here. You can see this is where you would find the paper. This is where you find the ink pad, and just below that you see the ink refill. So you could go along to the color you want and get the ink refill. So once you have an ink refill, that lasts for years. There are lots of other things you can do it, but one of the main things is you can refill your ink bottle. So just remember that. And I wanted to touch base and just remind you of the cards we made last week. Yes, I think it was last week. And using the Be Mine. No, it's not Be Mine. It was the other bee one. Cute as a bee. Somebody's got to help me out with the bee one that I used last week. But we made these bunnies, and then we also used the bunny wings to make these ears here. So just a reminder, if you missed that, to go back and watch that. And also, I don't know if you have any people in your lives that are kind of hooked on Minecraft, and Minecraft movie came out this week. I think it was last year I shared this Minecraft card. So in the description afterwards, I will post the link to it. Meant to be. Thank you, Maggie. It just wasn't coming. Meant to be was for the bunny ears there. So I will post the link for this in case you want to be right on trend with the movie scene and some of the people in your life that like Minecraft. So I will add that. So that being said, we're going to look at the bundle that includes these dies right here. So I fell in love with this bundle, and yet I haven't shared it yet. So I wanted to. It's an online bundle, so you can find it there. It's called Grow with Love. So if you go to my website and just type in Grow with Love, under the shopping thing in the search engine, this will come up. So great stamps. There's wonderful words. There's this great frame here that you can use for other stamps as well. It doesn't just have to be these. And then there are these 4 different herbs. So you can use them as herbs with the name underneath, or when you die cut them out, because the dies match, then you just have the plants. And then of course you can make them anything you want. You could change them up into any color, and I'll show that example later. So here we go like that. So let me show you the actual dies. These are dies that you actually get 2 sheets. So one has the envelope, which is what caught my eye initially, I have to admit. And then the dies for the herbs here, and one more over here. Then we have a nice small circle here and really small circles here with the little holes in them. So these would make good eyeballs or other things as well. But these are for the little tabs to close your envelope, and I'll show that in action in a minute here. And also over here, as well as one more of these, we have some more great labels. So we've got the labels. We've got this that cuts out this stamp set here, pardon me, there. We've got the envelope. There's just so many good things in this die. So that's what we're going to focus on tonight. Now, we're not going to use many of the stamps. We're going to focus on the pocket as sort of the focal element of a fun fold card. So, but I'm going to show you tons of examples at the end that incorporate all of that. So just to keep that in mind. Now, you've heard me sort of complaining a little bit that I'm nearly out of designer paper. And I know some of you are gasping and said, how can that be? But I made it my goal to really start using my designer paper, and I guess I was highly successful. Anyway, so now, right now, when I go to plan a project, I go and look first, what designer paper do I have? And this paper I'm using tonight was called Mediterranean Blooms. So this is literally all that I have left. But we're going to use this piece right here. We're cutting the pocket out of that. So we've got that. And we're also going to use this. So I had big enough chunks from there. So let's look at the paper that I'm going to use tonight. Because that's the paper I'm using, my card base is going to be Night of Navy. And instead of folding our card base, we have two separate pieces. So they're both 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, but you need two of them. So we've got two pieces of that. Then we have a piece of basic white. It doesn't have to be thick. Basic white is just fine for this. And it's 5 1/4 by 11. And then it's scored at these score lines right here. I'm going to bring it in and show you. Whoops. Well, I just dropped my scoring tool on the ground. I will see if I can do it with this. So it's scored at 1 3/4, 3 1/2, 7 1/2, and 9 1/4. Now, if you didn't want to do it that way, you could go 1 3/4, 3 1/2, and then flip it around and go 1 3/4, 3 1/2. So both are the same from each end. So whichever way you prefer to do that. So we're going to use that. And we're actually going to fold this right now. So we want the middle here to be the middle of the card. So this is going to come up like this. And we're going to burnish that. And then we're going to fold this one back, making sure our edges all get lined up. So we've got a look like that, a Z fold there. Then we're going to do the same thing on this side. It's just easier for me to do it from this angle. So we folded that up and then folded this back. So basically, it's like a gatefold. It doesn't meet in the middle, and that's just fine. We don't really care about that, but it's going to look like that from the top. So we've got that. So we've got two pieces of cardstock. We've got our folded piece here. Then we've got a piece of designer paper that's going to layer on one of these and become our front. So why don't we do that right now? So this is 4 by 5 1/4, just 1/4 of an inch smaller. We'll stick that on right now. There we go. Just center it, pick it up and make sure it's looking pretty straight. So I didn't even do any narrow borders for you tonight. These are all pretty standard ones. So we've got this. Then we've got another piece of Night of Navy that's 1 1/2 by 5. So what it's going to do is going to go on this here. So this is 5 1/4. So this is 5 in height, and it is just 1/4 of an inch smaller. And then we've got some designer paper that's 1 1/4 by 4 3/4. So that's going to all layer together like that. So the designer paper is 1 1/4 by 4 3/4, and then the cardstock, whoops, it's upside down, 1 1/2 by 5. Now all these measurements will be in the tutorial Thursday. So make sure that you've subscribed to my newsletter. I always put the measurements and everything and the instructions in my newsletter on Thursdays, and that way it's a reward, or it's exclusive to my newsletter subscribers, because I need to let them know I really appreciate them. So we've got that, and that is going to go on the panel that's going to be on this side. Right now it really doesn't matter, but we'll put it on and take care of that business right now, get the basics all together. Center it. So now it's like that. And we're finished with this. We're going to put that to the side. We've got this ready to go. We'll put that to the side. Now we're going to bring in our envelope. Now the neat thing about this envelope, it is scored and everything. So you need a piece of paper. If you can use cardstock or designer paper, it doesn't matter. I'm using designer paper. Two-tone cardstock would be really neat too. 5 1/4 by 5 3/4 is big enough. So if you have some 6 by 6 paper that you need to use up, this is a good thing for doing that. I kind of want this on the outside, so I'm going to just fold on the fold lines. It comes together beautifully, and I've just been having fun thinking of different ways to use this envelope. Now I am going to use liquid glue, but I wanted to show you they have designed it so that you can use tear and tape and the flaps are wide enough that you don't have to worry about sticking your envelope closed in the wrong spot. Now you can decide which way you want to overlap. If you want this little piece on the inside, I'm going to leave it on the outside. So you can overlap it this way or that way. And then of course that could be closed. One way to, if you were giving it as a gift, is you could put a strip of tear and tape here and just not take the backing off, and then people could seal it when the time comes. But we're just going to put a bit of a multi-purpose there and hold it down. And then I'm going to put some here and then hold that down just so it sets. And just like that, we have this cute pocket. Now I can just imagine some of your brains going about how you could make little things to tuck in here. So here's a good question. What kind of things could you tuck in this pocket? So as you're jotting that down, we're going to bring this in. Now this pocket is going to go, I think like that. And we are going to bring in one of the die cut labels from the dies. I think it's going to go like that. Then I was thinking, what could I put on the front here? And one of the things that's retiring that I have just loved are the butterfly accents. What do they call it here? Better get the right name. The paper butterfly accents. So there's the number there. And what I love about it is you can see I was using that one for a mask. They have all different butterflies, but you can use this side, but sometimes you want the butterfly to fly the other direction. You can flip it over and use that side too. So you have a choice of using either one. So I'll just put those to the side. I chose to use this butterfly here, and it's going to go like that. We're going to do something with that butterfly, but that's basically how it's going to go. And I just want, now the stamp set has some wonderful words on it, but I need birthday cards and more of a celebration kind of card. So I absolutely love the hello from Beautiful Butterflies, and it kind of fits with this. And because you could have a hello can cover a multitude of uses, right? So I've got that mounted, and I'm going to bring in my Night of Navy ink. And remember, this is a photopolymer stamp. So if you were not stamping on a glass mat, you would want a bit of a cushion like that underneath. You would just get a better impression or image. So let's do hello. Now the butterfly is going to be here, so I'll move it over a bit. I love using my grid lines to help my eyes focus in. There we go. Just like that. We've got that stamped, and we'll close that up for now. And now we're going to take this and we're going to add some color to this before we put it on the card. So let's put that to the side here. I'll bring this in. I'm going to bring some scrap paper in and some blending brushes. Now I've got one that's more orange related, one that's more yellow related, and I just clean them off by going like this till they sort of come pretty clear. And you'll say, but they're different sizes, Lillian. Well, our blending brushes come in a regular size or a small size, and I happen to have both. So you can just have fun with whatever. It doesn't really matter just mixing up my order. I worked this all out. Now I'm forgetting what I'm doing. I'm going, pardon me, I'm going to start with Daffodil Delight, so a yellow, going to go like that. And I'm going to have the light yellow in the background here. I can gradually build it up, but I'm going to start here. And I'm just doing it gently. I can always add more, but I can't take it off, right? Whoops. There we go. And now I'm going to bring in a darker yellow. Let me just move some of this out of the way so I don't have a disaster happening. And this is Crushed Curry, so I'm going just a shade darker. So I started with my lightest, and I don't have to worry about cleaning it because I'm going to a darker color. And I'm going to start here and blend it out. There we go, sort of like that. Now I want it to get a little more orangey. So I'm going to bring in Pumpkin Pie. And there's no rhyme or reason to this. It's just what I decided I liked. So I'm going in here. And the blending brushes are so well named. They just blend the color beautifully together. So I can decide that looks pretty good. I could go back and add, but I think I'm going to add just a little bit of Cajun Craze right. And because I went a lighter color, this is darker, I don't have to worry too much. That's going to be pretty dark. And we're going to concentrate on the body and the antenna. And then just maybe blend it out a little bit. Now, I think it was last week or the week before, some of you were saying you have blending brushes and you haven't used them. Have you got them out yet? I hope you're putting them to use. I absolutely love my blending brushes. It's a quick way to add color to a background or to do what we're doing right here. Look at the neat design that the butterfly is making. So I think I like that just fine. I could go back and add a little bit more Cajun Craze back here maybe. And you can go back and go over, and there. I think that's good. Now to clean these, all you need to do is brush until they don't leave a whole bunch of color. You can wash them, but I never wash mine. I just do this and then use them. I just have I don't know, a handful of them and have designated them to color groupings, I guess you could call it. So we'll close this up. And I chose these colors basically because these colors are in the designer paper somewhere. So that's my thinking behind the colors there. So there we go like that. Get rid of that. Now let's bring in our card front. So I'm thinking this is going to be stuck down here, this here, and this here. And one of my favorite ribbons and twines to use is the gold twisted thread. And this is actually on the Last Chance items. I literally nearly cried when I saw it there because I use this so much. And maybe I need a little, get it started. I'm likely pulling it the wrong way. I can see the end. There we go. Brand new one. I should never have done that on camera. I think I'm going to add a little bit of this behind here. just to add the texture. And how I like to do it is to put something sticky there and then just wind it back and forth a few times just to make it, just add a little interest. I think that'll be good enough. I think I've got my fingers stuck in some, but that's okay. There we go. We've got it like that. And we're going to put that on the envelope. So I guess before I did that, I should have stuck the envelope down, right? Oh, well, it's stuck to my finger. Now I don't want to stick the flap down, so I'm going to just fold it under so I don't make that mistake. And we're going to put this on like that. Slide it down a bit so that the flap is still there. Good. And then this is going to go here. So I think I'll put that on dimensionals. And let's see. I like to stick down the twine while I'm adding my dimensionals. Dual purpose that way. Bring my little dish in. So now let's watch the placement. So this is going to go, my envelope's at an angle, but I want my words to be straight. So I'm going to go like that. Then we're going to put this on, and I think I'm just going to curl the wings a little bit and go like that and fasten it on there. Ooh, how many of you are liking how this is coming together? I am. There we go. So I had some good news today. I had one of my follow-up appointments with my surgeon, and he's so happy with how I'm doing, as am I. And so it was a really good medical report. So I was pleased with that. So there we have it like that. Now we've got to make something to go in the envelope. So question, what are some things that you would put in this envelope? I likely missed some of that. And you can put all kinds of things in this envelope. One of the questions I had was, would it fit a gift card? And it will. Now you could put a note card in there. You could put a little photo in there. You could do all kinds of different things. But I thought, why don't we do a little sort of card that's going to fit in here that will also hold a gift card? So I came up with this. So it's 2 1/4 by 4 1/2, scored at 3 3/8. So when we go to this way, once it's folded, it's going to fit right in, but when you pull it out, it will pull the gift card out. Oh, thank you, everybody. Yes, it's excellent news. I was really, really pleased. So he doesn't want to see me for 6 more months. And then if all being well, he doesn't want to see me at all after that. So I am really happy with that. So let's go back now. The butterflies, when you punch them out, you are left with this. And I decided to use this as a little mask. We've been sort of doing masks lately. And I'm going to put it in here and bring in, I think I'm going to bring in my crushed curry. I've been seesawing back and forth. I'll just have to remember to use a light touch. Bring in my scrap paper like that. And I should likely fasten that down because talking, sponging, everything else, I'm likely to move it. So I'm just using a Post-it note, and I'm going to start off and just fill in that. So you might have, I other things in your stash that you can use as masks. We talked about using dyes. We talked about using different things. So this is just using what's left from an embellishment kind of thing. So we've got that really lightly in the background. So I don't know if you can see it, but it adds just a soft touch. Close this up. And now I want to put some words in here. So tonight I am really picking and choosing from all kinds of things. I have this set, You Are Remarkable, which I just love. And I wanted to put You Are Remarkable in every single way. So I've got that mounted, and we're going to stamp over top of that butterfly, and we're going to stamp in Night of Navy. So it will just pop. Or maybe I should have said flutter. So like that, and I'm going to put it there like that. And then if I just wanted to write a little note there, I could, but we don't need to because we've got the inside of the card as well. So we don't need to worry about that. And then this will rest here, but I wanted a little pulley feature. So I thought, I could use my keeping tabs. So this makes like a tab, and I could fasten that onto there and have it as a pulley feature. Or, so you know me, my brain goes too many different directions. I had just got these. These are called the Hole Punch Assortment. And so they are different tiny little hole punches. So there's a 1/8. There's this one here where you can thread a ribbon through it like that. And this, even a different type of opening. So these are super. So I'm going to use the 1/8 one from there, and I want to punch a hole right in the middle. Now, I don't know about you, but I never trust my eyeball to just eyeball it, and I don't trust my math. I'm a little bit lazy. So I cut out a scrap piece of paper that's the same. I folded it in half, and now I can take a pen or pencil and make a mark, and I know that's going to be the center. And I didn't have to measure and be precise. So now I can see it through there. And we've got that little hole there. And we're going to bring in some more of that gold twine. And I'm going to fold it in half so it's a little bit thicker. And then fold it in half again so that I can put the fold through that little opening. There we go. So now I've got a loop here. I'm going to tuck this through the loop. This was the tail end of the last one, and it worked last night in my practice, but of course it's doing weird and wonderful things because you guys are watching, right? Let me just try this again. So fold it in half. Fold it in half again. There we go. We've got those little loops. I'm going to just make sure that they're together. Put them through the opening. And I was trying to use what was left. And of course, it's starting to fray because I've handled it so much, but we'll make it work. If all else fails, we'll cut another piece. Where's my take it tool? I was so thrilled last night when it worked. There we go. So now we've got it like that. We're going to snip this, and we're going to let it all unravel because it looks pretty neat. I'm not going to worry about this being fastened down because when I tuck it in, just the envelope is going to hold it down. Just like that. But this is poking out so that you know something's in there. And we're going to add embellishments in a minute, but let's put our card together here. So we've got this, and this is going to get centered on the other piece of Night of Navy. So when it's folded up, you have, it's just like a regular layer. So let's do that. Make sure I don't get my fingers all in the glue. So we've got it like that. Looks pretty neat, doesn't it? Now I'm sure you can guess, we're going to flatten this and put this one on top. So but the only place we're going to put glue is right here. We don't want to glue it closed. I meant to stamp this before I did that, but we will stamp it after. I was getting ahead of myself there. So we'll close this up, line the top up with the bottom, give it a good push, and now we have a card that when we open it up, it looks like that. It stands beautifully, but when it's closed, it fits in a regular envelope. So let's do two things. We're going to add embellishments, and we're going to do a little bit of stamping on the inside. So I went back to the beautiful butterflies, time to celebrate. So, and this is going to go on the inside, and I really should have done that before I glued the front on, but we'll make it work, right? If all else fails, we can do it on a piece of paper and glue it in. Time to celebrate. There we go. And then we're going to bring in just a little butterfly. We'll bring in one of the yellows. Bring in the crushed curry. I think I'll stamp it off once. And just have that there in the background like that. And close this up before I put the card in it. And now we've got a choice for you as to which embellishment you want. So do you want to use the iridescent foil gems? Oh, I see something else here I was supposed to use too. I'm going to bring that to remind me. Where did the gems go? Here they are. So peel them off. So they have just a bit of gold in them. So the foil gems or the two-tone sparkle gems. So sparkle or foil, which should we use on this card? Sparkle or foil? I think either would work, wouldn't it? Sparkle or... You love this card, Linda? So do I. I've seen variations of it at different places, but I believe these measurements initially came from Connie Stewart, the fold. The pocket is my idea to use that. So sparkle or foil? Foil, I see foil. Okay, thank you very much. There we go. Get this out of the way, and we'll just... The gold foil kind of goes with the other gold that we've got happening, doesn't it? We'll do a couple up here. I'm so excited to show you the other cards made using this bundle. I've had fun. In fact, I think I am going to have a class. I'm pretty sure that's my next class. Now, when I was cutting out my designer paper, I ended up with this little scrap, and I thought, you know what? We should put that on the back. So why don't we do that? That can be our little signature on the back. You like the pocket with the fold? I'm really pleased with it. I think I might be making a few more. So there we go. We've got that on the back. We use that scrap up. We're just putting those scraps to use. And there we have it. So using some of the things in my stash and then using the pocket that's pretty new to me, at least. So there is that card like that. And then it's like that. So Carolyn, I see you here. You are somebody who loves to see a card stand up so firmly like that. So there is that card with that fold. So it definitely goes in an envelope. Here is the exact same fold, but without the pocket, just with stamping as the focal point. So again, I was using some paper that I just had bits and pieces of. So this is the Countryside Corners, I believe, and a Spotlight on Nature, that gorgeous stamp. So this one is like that. So both are in blue, so I seem to have a bit of blue left. So now, are you ready to see some more cards made with the pocket? So here is another pocket one. This one was the inspiration for this. So it has the pocket, it has the words, and it has the this, but I use these, the words and the stamp are right from the Grow with Love stamp set too. And on this one, on the inside, I just have a little tag like that. But this one uses designer paper, surprise, surprise, in a trifold, and then you have a spot to put either a gift card or some seeds or something like that. So all of these stamps are actually from that bundle. Then I had a little bit of fun here. So just looking at the pocket itself. So the pocket makes just a great gift enclosure. You could put it with a gift bag. So I stamped the frame on here and some of, I think this was the rosemary in the background, and then die cut and just did a bit of that. Then on the back, I used the those little small circles to make the closure. Can you see that? So let me just find the dies here. So these little ones here, they cut out ones that are perfect for threading ribbon through and looking just like one that you would when you buy them in a store. Like that. And so then when you open it up, I was just reading comments. I see some of you commenting. And so in here, I have a little card. So just like that. So I measured to make sure that it would be just a little smaller than the envelope. And I don't know about you, but I love having these little cards around. And so then again, the stamps are here, and it's just a little card that I could tuck in with a gift or just leave on a coworker's desk or tuck in a lunchbox or something like that. So there is that one there, and you can see that in action. So I wanted to show, though, that you don't have to stick with these stamps. You can go with something else, and I told you that I was really enjoying this stamp set, so I went and made a card using that, and I had just a little bit of this full of life paper, I believe, left. So here is my envelope like that, and I stuck with this stamp set here, so this would go right in here to go in with a gift for somebody. So we've got that. Now I wanted to, we've talked about that gift card holders would fit in here, but what else would? So if you, Wildflower birthday designer paper had tags you could cut out. So I thought, I wonder, and look at, they fit in. It's snug, but they fit in. You could actually even just cut a little bit off, but they fit in and they would be perfect for in there. Then I thought, well, I love my arch dies. Would any of the arches fit in? And this one here fits in. So you could tuck in one of your arches if you wanted and do that. So there's another idea. This is an idea I've got in my head, but I haven't got worked out. I've just been playing with scrap paper. I cut out and made several envelopes, but I didn't close the bottom flap. Instead, I punched a couple of holes, and it's turning into a little envelope book. I'm not totally sure where I'm going with this. I need to wait for some designer paper to arrive to do that, but maybe some of you can come up with an idea to work with this. I think it would be great for birthdays or something like that, coaches, who knows, whatever. Okay, so those are some of the ideas with the little ones, but what about making an actual regular old card? So here we have one right here. So this is likely one of my favorites, and it's using that Timeless Plaid paper, just a little bit of it, and that's the boho blue, which I'm going to miss. Again, all of the stamps are from the Grow with Love set, so there's that. And then, of course, I had to make a little gift card to go with it. So here's my envelope. I didn't decorate the envelope. My thought process was that this could be glued in here, and that could hold a little gift card, or you could use it separately as that. So in that case, this would go on here, I think. I'm just playing around with the ideas, but you get the idea there. So let's just add all of that to my mess here. Then I showed you this from one of my downline, Margorn. So she has this one here, and she embossed the label here. I really liked that, and I love this sentiment too. So gorgeous there. Here is one that cased from somebody's on stage, I believe. So it's just some of the different greens. I believe I put in this Mossy Meadow and Granny Apple Green. So they look really good there, and I did a few spatters. I stamped the frame right on here and then just layered things on top, and I love that too. So there's that, and then the labels. So we have in the stamp set, or in the dies, pardon me. Right, this is falling apart. We have this label, and we also have this label. So I used those two labels. Move this out of the way. And the stamps, and so this is Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock. You can't go wrong with those two colors, right? And I stamped the narrower stamps on the narrower die, and the bigger ones on this. I used the corrugated embossing folder in the background, and so it just came together really, really easily. I believe I saw the original idea with Karina Chin in different colors, but I really loved that idea, and I love how it turned out. So it just shows you don't have to stick with strictly greens. You can go with blues, you can go with Lost Lagoon, or you can do a card like this. And this card is cased right from the online sample. So I've thrown in a bit of fresh freesia and some gray granite and some of the different greens. And there you have, so this is a very springy kind of card, and it's all mounted on basic beige. So there we go. And last but not least, and my brain is still full of ideas, I could keep going, but I used the two-tone cardstock and crinkled it and then spread it out. And so we've got that rustic look there. And then some more of it here, just some of the dies and this. So it just, again, is another look that you could come up with. So there you go. It's hopefully I've got your brain just to going with ideas there, and I hope that you like this fun fold. I really liked how easy it was to put together, and when you're doing the front of it, you're just doing a card front, so you can make it as simple or as complicated as you want. And we'll look at that. This one's using the other gems that I gave you the option on tonight. So there we have both gems in action, and there you go. So watch for a card class coming up. It was going to come out last week, but Harry decided that he needed a mountain fix, so we went to the mountains for a few days. So that was what was so good. So if you saw ideas here for maybe using some of the paper or some of the dies or whatever, I hope you've jotted them down. I had someone reach out to me late this afternoon. Do you remember what video you used this particular die in? And I couldn't remember, and she was trying to recreate it, and it was we were having really looking hard for it. So jot down the ideas or the items that you like, and remember the measurements for this fold will also be in Thursday's newsletter, so you can look forward to that too. Now, just looking at this, I could have embossed this layer too, couldn't I? Another time. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Oh, one thing, we're Stampin' Rewards. So the Stampin' Up's loyalty program is about to go through a change. So if you are a customer of mine, or you sometimes place orders with me, make sure you go to my website and click on your account and make sure everything is up to date, because pretty soon everything will be coming to you personally with rewards. It's a great program, and I'll be talking about that later. But I see I've gone way over the time I usually do. So take care, everybody, and have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.